I'm Anthony DiMoro, and this is the brand new SportsRantz TV, and this show, Ranters Insider. I'm really excited to roll this out as a new part of SportsRantz.com, and as you know, we've been making a ton of adjustments to the website and kind of reinventing all our features. We started last month with SportsRantz Radio. So you guys, if you want to get another look at all the great things happening on SportsRantz.com, go on over and check out our radio section to start. We have tons of shows for you to listen to, all about sports, all about ranting, fitness, everything's in there. Go on over to sportsrantz.com/radio. And for those of you who joined me for the initial first 4 to 5 episodes of this very show, Ranters Insider, that I did last fall, well, welcome back. This time it's going to be a whole new approach to our formats. And of course, with Ranters Insider, I wanted to expand it like we do with everything at SportsRantz.com. We want to keep getting better. So with that being said, we recently rolled out the announcement of SportsRantz TV. So what's that mean? What is SportsRantz TV? Well, it's a bunch of web shows, kind of like this one that you're watching right now, that are going to rant about sports. And it's going to come from some of your favorite people on SportsRantz.com, myself included. And we have about 2 to 3 other shows that are set to debut this month, and we're in talks with a couple of other ones. Some of these you can expect are Crashing the Net with Tristan Huntermer. You might know her blog on SportsRantz.com. She's going to be kicking off a hockey talk show. And just to keep that hockey talk rolling along, Siren 1363. Yeah, Amy Gist has a radio show on SportsRantz Radio. But now it's going to be a TV show too, so double whammy right there. Awesome stuff, right? Those 2 shows are going to be debuting soon as well. And as I said, with SportsRantz TV, you can expect a new format for sports ranting. Some of us don't want to listen to the radio or have time to listen to the radio. And some of us just are more visual. And some of us just want all the sports we can get, so we just soak up the radio and the video. Well, guess what? SportsRantz will certainly be providing that. And there's a couple of ways to get to SportsRantz TV. You can just go to sportsrantz.com and see our TV tab at the top. You also can go to sportsrantz.com/TV and you can get to the same place there. But also, if you want an ultra quick shortcut, sportsrantz.tv doesn't get any easier than that. And every week we'll be rolling out new shows, new episodes, new rants, just to whet your appetite for sports talk. And as always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter at Anthony DiMoro is the handle. Or you can follow SportsRantz at SportsRantz. Remember, Rants with the Z and that follow tag right there. And also, will you like us on Facebook? I swear if you like us on Facebook, we'll be your friends forever. We're pretty awesome. So come on and like us on Facebook, our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/SportsRantz. Remember, that's Rants with a Z. And also, we would love to have you come and join our social networking community. We just talked about Facebook and Twitter. This is one similar to it. So come on over to sportsrantz.com, where fans have the voice to rant about sports. Alright guys, this is the brand new Ranters Insider. Brand new intro, brand new music. Look at all this stuff. We got all the bells and whistles, all this jazzed up stuff. So why don't we just roll right into it and talk about one of the topics in sports that can't seem to get off of anybody's tongues in the media world, and that's NFL free agency. And speaking of NFL free agency, seriously, let's take a sit back and think about this. What sport has a more exciting offseason? MLB? I don't think so. NHL? NBA? Nope. But you know what? The NFL manages to be very thought-provoking, very intriguing and interesting in its off-season, especially when free agency hits. And as it kicked off last Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Everybody was tuned in to NFL Network, honed in on Twitter, honed in on Facebook fan pages, trolling news sites to get the latest and greatest in free agency, and it came fast and furious. And that's what I love about NFL free agency. So let's break it down a little bit. Who are some of my winners and losers in free agency? A lot of people have different opinions about who the winners and losers is. And instead of picking winners and losers, I'm just going to pick a couple of teams that I thought did some interesting things. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to start off, no surprise, with the team that I favor and a team that I kind of follow in depthly. That's the Miami Dolphins. And the Miami Dolphins had a very, very interesting and active start to free agency. And I thought it was very, very important that they had an effective free agency, a very active free agency this year. Because in years past, when chasing big ticket free agents like Peyton Manning, the Dolphins would not only whiff, but they would whiff horribly and pathetically. Not this year. The Dolphins GM Jeff Ireland, their entire front office, and the coaching staff led by Joe Philbin had a plan. And their top free agent target was Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Mike Wallace. Now, a lot of people want to bash on Mike Wallace and say he's just a deep threat. He's not a complete wide receiver. But he's a far, vast, better upgrade at wide receiver than anything the Miami Dolphins had on their roster last year or currently. Mike Wallace will give Ryan Tannehill that deep threat that he has sorely lacked last season and is instrumental in his continued development. So I love what the Dolphins did with Mike Wallace. I really do. There's no complaints. You can sit there and gripe and moan about the money he got. Oh, he overpaid, but who doesn't overpay for free agency? These are athletes. Everybody overpays. So I don't have a problem with what they did, and they needed to do it. But the Dolphins weren't just done there. They immediately, Donnell Ellerbe, out of nowhere, they immediately snatched him up from the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens, which spelled the end for linebacker Carl Stansby. Now, a lot of Miami Dolphins fans are a little bit questioning this move. What's the motivation for cutting Dansby? Well, you just got Donnell Ellerbe, who's a couple of years younger and seems to be on the rise, whereas Dansby from here on out, and this is no slight to Carlos Dansby, he's very productive, but from here on out he's going to be on a decline. And not to mention he makes a buttload of money. So it made sense for the Dolphins to make that cut, along with Kevin Burnett, an equally productive player, and he's just signed with the Oakland Raiders, but the Dolphins wanted to get younger. And let me tell you, anybody who watched all the Dolphins games, particularly against the New England Patriots, what was the problem? That certainly wasn't the defensive front. It was stopping tight ends, covering tight ends. They couldn't keep up. So we got faster, younger. I love the moves. Dolphins also stole Dustin Keller away from the Jets, which I know is something the Dolphins are ecstatic about, and the Jets are sorely gonna miss Keller. I think he's a great option. Yeah, we could have used Jared Cook, but Jared Cook was making a ton of money, and Jared Cook hasn't proven to be worth that amount of money. Yes, he's a great seam threat. He's a great downfield tight end, but is he a third wide receiver, or is he a true tight end? Well, we're going to find out. And also, Dolphins fans, we heard about it. Jake Long bolting Miami to head to St. Louis to play for the Rams. A lot of people kind of on the fence about this in regards to Dolphins fans. Here's my take. Good riddance. Now, this is no slight on Jake Long at all. He's a warrior, a tremendous player. He's been a tremendous asset to the Miami Dolphins. But let's face it here. This guy is on the decline. He's racked up injuries over the past couple of seasons. And he's so far removed from the Pro Bowl player that he was that he's not even in the conversation for elite left tackles in the NFL. And not to mention he wanted $8 to $10 million per year. Ended up going for $9 million per year with the Rams. It just wasn't worth it. On top of that, Jake Long didn't want to give the Miami Dolphins a hometown discount. I don't blame him. Players need to get paid. So he went and took the money. Good luck, Jake, because it's going to suck in St. Louis. You know why? No receivers. Who's your running back? Have fun with that, Jake. And Miami will be much better for this move. Now, the jury is still out on who Jake Long is. Will he return to that Pro Bowl form, or will he be Tony Baselli version 2.0? Well, for that type of money investment, I'm proud of my Fins for simply walking away and letting Jake Long walk. He looked pathetic last season, getting blown up by left end or defensive ends, linebackers, just blowing him up. Dwight Freeney, who is 1,000 years old, was blowing him up. He just looked out of sync in that system. This is the system they're going to run, so why overpay for somebody who clearly doesn't fit? And speaking of the Miami Dolphins, everybody's been talking about the past couple of months the new Dolphins logo. What's it going to look like? And you know what? I put this out on our Facebook fan page and on Twitter. I think this logo got partially leaked. I mean, look at it. This is the picture of last week, Brian Hartline signing his contract to stay a member of the Miami Dolphins. If you look on the table, looks like a new partial preview of the new Miami Dolphins logo. Listen, there's going to be lovers and haters of whatever this new logo is, but guess what? We're all going to find out on April 18th. That's right, the Dolphins announced, Mike D in particular on Twitter, announced that the Miami Dolphins will be unveiling their brand new logo and uniform changes on April 18th. I'm excited. This is one of the most boring logos and uniforms in the National Football League, and it's horribly outdated. So I, for one, am glad to finally be stocking up my Dolphins gear again. I mean, seriously, let's take a look here, folks. How intimidating is this? How intimidating is a dolphin? Grrr. Yeah, no more. We're going to actually have something that doesn't look like a cartoon character like Wile E. Coyote chasing you while he's smiling. Yeah, that's not striking fear in your opponents. So kudos to the Dolphins. Looking forward to April 18th. We'll have that. We'll break it down right here on Ranters Insider. All right, guys, let's talk about some other teams in free agency. One of those, the Seattle Seahawks. Everybody went crazy when Percy Harvin was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. And I love this trade for both teams, but a little bit more for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'll tell you why. The Minnesota Vikings got a first-round pick for a guy who I'm not sure is first-round talent. And let me tell you something. Percy Harvin, let me take that back. He is first-round talent. He just hasn't related onto the field. I have major question marks with Percy Harvin when it comes to concussions, his headaches, the injuries. These are the things that throw up a red flag for me on Percy Harvin. Plus, he's quite the diva. He's a headache with coaches. He's a headache with quarterbacks. He's a headache with front office. When he doesn't get his way, he becomes a diva wide receiver. We all know how that goes. Chad Johnson, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss. Let's keep going down the list here. You see how this stuff turns out? Sometimes some of these players just produce, and that's just who they are. And some of them are just a distraction. Now, Percy Harvin can certainly be a powerful weapon in the right offense, but is the risk worth the reward? Now, he doesn't just have an attitude problem. He is basically a huge diva and a headache in the locker room. And you gave up a first-round pick for him. Now, I love the move for Minnesota because you got rid of somebody who didn't want to be on your team and you didn't want a part of your organization, and you got a first-round pick for it, among other things. So a big win for Minnesota right there because wide receivers, it's just more of a system. I think in the NFL these days, instead of a true number one receiver beating everybody, I think it's more that you have to have wide receivers and complementary pieces to be successful. See the New England Patriots. See the New York Giants. See the Green Bay Packers. They don't have a clear dominant number one receiver. I mean, aside from Akeem Nicks in New York, you can make an argument right there, but they've always had complementary pieces all the way around the board. So it's interesting that, Minnesota took this route. They said, all right, we're done with Percy Harvin. Trade him out. Got a first-round pick. That's a win. Seattle, on the other hand, I think they gave up a little bit too much. But, if you feel like you're going to win right now, this is the move to make. And Percy Harvin presents that opportunity to win now. So I love the trade for Seattle, and if you're right there, you go all in. I just question what they gave up. First round picks are very valuable in the NFL, folks. So it goes without saying that you have to be sure you get it right. So hopefully the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks got this right. A lot of people are talking about perhaps the steal in free agency, if you can call it that, with the Denver Broncos swooping in and taking New England Patriots wide receiver Wes Welker. Well, Peyton Manning gets another weapon in his arsenal, which smells like a dangerous concoction of offensive firepower. But a lot of people want to cram on New England and say, what happened here? How can you replace the great Wes Welker? You know how you do that? You have Tom Brady throw to somebody else. And that somebody else is Danny Amendola. Much younger, a little bit of a health concern, but the same type of mold of Wes Welker. And look at Wes Welker before he was in New England. He was in Miami. Look at the production there compared to Danny Amendola. And they're kind of the same mold and same type of player. And now they take a step to different teams. I mean, Welker with Denver, but more importantly, Amendola to New England. I think, now, I'm not trying to knock Wes Welker's production here. His production over the past several seasons is certainly nothing to sneeze at and is historically profound. But Danny Amendola can produce close to that level, and he will, because you know why? Tom Brady. Let's stop and just say that. Tom Brady. That's the only thing that's going to matter, and he's going to be the reason why Danny Amendola is going to make people go, Wes Welker, who? All right, maybe not. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but you get the point. All right, and finally, I want to talk about the St. Louis Rams. St. Louis Rams are basically parading around that they signed Jake Long. It's a great signing. They had a major hole at left tackle, and this is a good signing that fills a need for them. But they lost all of their wide receivers. So who the hell are you going to throw to? You lost Steven Jackson as your running back, so who the hell's going to run the ball? I just question, when all these people say Jeff Fisher is so great and everything, I'm just like, really? What is he doing with St. Louis? But one thing I will say, the Rams have been aggressive in free agency. They wanted to get the guy they wanted. They got him. So you have to believe there's a plan in place. I just don't think the signing of Jake Long is going to instantly translate into wins for this team or the playoffs next year. I mean, let's get real. Let's get real. It's not going to happen. So St. Louis, awesome for you showing up to the free agency party. Like, cool beans. That's awesome. But it's not going to give you much more wins or any more wins heading into next season. And Sam Bradford, good luck, man. They want him to take this next step. Yes, Sam Bradford has to take this next step. Who the hell is he going to throw to? Better be going wide receiver in the draft is all I'm going to say, because there's nobody out there that I think can really complement Sam Bradford and help him take that next step that he needs to take. So you just took away all his wide receiving weapons and his running game, and you added Jared Cook and Jake Long. Jared Cook, great acquisition, but when they doubled him, who's Sam Bradford going to throw to? Brandon Gibson just bolted you for Miami. St. Louis, Jeff Fisher, really? Whatever. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about this. It's very disappointing. We're going to talk about the NBA now. Really quick topic here. And it's Andre Bynum and Dwight Howard. Two sides of the same coin. And I say that because these two players were essentially traded for one another last season or during the offseason. So now the news has surfaced that Andre Bynum is going to have double knee surgery and be out for the year before he's ever suited up for the Philadelphia 76ers. So did the Sixers whiff on this deal? I don't think so. And I don't think so because they didn't give up too much. Andre Iguodala was going to leave anyway. He was included in that deal. And the Lakers wanted to get rid of Bynum. And Philly, being in the East and being of the thinking that a big man will help them get over the top, you make this trade 100 times over. Now, whether Andre Bynum continues his career in the NBA or goes off on a bowling tour with that horrible haircut he has, that's yet to be determined. But when Andre Bynum is healthy and playing well, he's one of the better young big men in the league. Who's to say how that turns out now? He could be Greg Oden, or he could just have a renaissance and come back and really perform well. But A guy his size having all these knee injuries, all these knee surgeries, and all these injury issues in general should pose a big, big question mark for the Philadelphia 76ers and the basketball world as a whole, because I don't know if Andrew Bynum really wants to be in the NBA. He seems like he's disenchanted with basketball. He seems like he's not motivated, and a lot of reports are supporting that sentiment. With that being said, what type of money will Andrew Bynum collect on the free agent market? And it's kind of funny how Andrew Bynum's kind of decline or fall from grace in an injury and health standpoint. On the flip side, Dwight Howard's rising, and Dwight Howard is finding his peace. He's finding his peace with the Lakers. Oh, I'm finally getting into the groove. Oh, yeah, everything's coming together. Screw you, Dwight Howard. Why do everybody gotta wait for Dwight Howard to be happy and be ready to take it to the next level? See, the Lakers, in my opinion, still are gonna lose out bigger than anybody else, because Dwight Howard's still gonna be an incomparable douchebag in the locker room. He's gonna be the big selfish baby he's always been, and he's just a pathetic headache for a locker room. You get an opportunity to play with an organization like the Lakers and two sure Hall of Famers in Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant, and yet you want everybody to cater to you like they did in Orlando. You've cost coaches their job. You've also run down organizations. See Orlando. But yet you still want people to know that you found your peace and you're ready to start playing. And yet Dwight Howard, you know what he's going to pay you, Lakers fans? You know, everybody wants to support Dwight Howard here and say I'm wrong or I'm pretty much being too harsh on Dwight Howard. You know how he's going to repay you? By doing the same thing this offseason. He's going to make you wait. He's going to make you think one thing and do another. He's going to go on Twitter and tell you how he's got to kind of do a soul-searching process to find out where he wants to go in the NBA. And who's going to be privileged enough to receive his services. But in reality, Dwight Howard is just going to go somewhere where he's going to be another headache. And with back issues lingering, how valuable is Dwight Howard? Now, I will agree his play recently with the Los Angeles Lakers has been impressive and has been instrumental in them winning and making a push towards the playoffs. But think about it like this. As we celebrate Dwight Howard and the Lakers for finally putting it together, think about all the games Dwight Howard has cost the Lakers this season with his behavior, with his attitude, with his reluctance to grasp the team concept, and his reluctance to get into shape. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me how many excuses this guy gets. And then on ESPN, the headline is, Dwight Howard finds his peace. Save it, gag me, and you know what? Shove it up your rear, Dwight. I'm so sick of talking about you. It's ridiculous. But, you know, I am pulling for the Lakers because I want to see Steve Nash win a ring. He deserves it. Kobe, I've seen it before. I don't mind seeing it again if he wins another championship. It'll be interesting because I don't think it really matters in the end because the Miami Heat are just that damn good. All right, moving on, guys. Let's talk a little bit baseball. And I'm going to talk about my New York Yankees. And I'm going to talk about somebody on there who's been injured a lot. Mark Teixeira is out again. Yankee fans, I said this on the radio. I'm going to say it again. He's out for 2 months. Initial reports out for 2 months. Don't worry. He doesn't show up in the regular season until 2 or 3 months into it anyway. His batting average is atrocious. He's unproductive. He's solid at first base, but that's about it. At the plate, he's completely inept the first 1 to 3 months of the season. That's ridiculous. Think about that. A guy is just not there 1 to 3 months into the season. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And he gets a pass. Why? Because he's tax. I'm sick of it. Teixeira is hurt yet again. I know. Players can't control injuries. But now, what initially was reported as perhaps being a 2-month injury, 10 weeks, something like that, may mean the whole season. Teixeira's injury to his wrist, well, he's saying it's a little bit more than he initially thought. So what does that say for the Yankees? I just don't see the Yankees going to the playoffs anyway. I think they're too old. I think Brian Cashman has horribly screwed up this roster, and they're like a sinking ship. You know what it is? A ship with a lot of holes that nobody wants to fix or has. They have the money to fix. They just want rather take their bubble gum and stick them in the little holes. You ever see those movies where like they're in a pirate ship or something, or they're in a sinking ship and they have to see the hole and the water coming out, and they try doing something ridiculous to plug that hole? Brian Cashman each and every year chews up a big wad of bubble gum in the form of an old, aged, or tossed aside veteran, and he tries plugging that hole. Sometimes you get a Raul Ibanez. Sometimes you get somebody like Freddie Garcia, whose ERA balloons over to 15. But that's what the Yankees do, and it's ridiculous. And I'm glad it's catching up to them. No, I'm not rooting for the Yankees to lose. That's the team I root for. But I'm just trying to be realistic here. The New York Yankees are too old, too hurt, too hobbled, too slow, and if you saw them at the plate, they just can't hit. So that's my verdict on the New York Yankees. Have fun chasing the Tampa Bay Rays at the bottom of the bottom of the division with the Boston Red Sox. It was a little bit of a tongue twister right there. All right, folks. Ranters Insider is going to wrap up right now, but I do want to invite you guys, come on over to SportsRantz.com. Click on the radio tab. You see it? Click on that. There's radio shows each and every day that you can listen to. And on Monday through Sunday, we have an awesome lineup of shows. If you like fitness, we have a show on Sunday. If you like wrestling, we have a show for that. If you like hockey, just hockey, we have a show for that. NASCAR fans, we have a show for you. All talk sports, all topics. We have shows for you. These are great. Check them out. You can listen to them anytime at sportsrants.com/radio. And keep in mind, folks, we're going to continue to grow this baby till it gets into a big, 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 giant monster that we can't control. No, I'm kidding. But SportsRantz TV is here. I'm very glad to announce it. Very glad to roll it out. Expect a ton from the shows coming out. We have Tristan Huntemer hosting Crashing the Net, which is going to be a hockey show. You might have seen her blog on sportsrants.com. And also Amy Gist. I know you know who she is. 1363, the Siren 1363 radio show. Her brand is just excellent. It's great hockey stuff. So you're going to get your hockey fill from SportsRantz TV. But we have some great additions forthcoming and announcements. Some new shows just signed on. So as March turns into April and spring goes into summer, SportsRantz TV is really going to get rolling. And remember, guys, just come on over to sportsrants.com and connect at our community. Seriously, make some friends. Don't be antisocial or anything. Don't be antisocial. We want friends. No. Okay. Come on over and friend me. I'm over on sportsrants.com. And remember, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. And Ranters Insider, you can expect this almost every Tuesday on here on sportsrants.com/TV. So once again, I'm Anthony DiMoro. Thank you so much for all your support, guys, as we continue to take this next step in this evolution of SportsRantz with SportsRantz TV. I'm Anthony DiMoro. This has been Ranters Insider, and you've been watching SportsRantz TV. Until next time, see you later, guys.